everybody, and welcome to the day 2 of our final qualifier. My name is Philip Schulz, I am joined by Marcus Bataro, and I am so glad to have started the stream in time this time around. Marco, how are you feeling today?
I am doing pretty well overall. It's finally to day 2. This was the biggest tournament lineup until now, and we have so many people as well into day 2, and all of these people want to win, want to get into the invitational, so I'm super excited to see what they're bringing into the table. Today we're showcasing Bryan Vries for this round against Ricardo Maganza from Italy. Bryan Vries instead is from the Netherlands, and they're both playing Picarom.
Yes, and this will be an amazing show-off between two builds of Picarom, and I don't think they could be any more different. We have Ricardo playing basically the same as Kim has used last time, very aggressive Pika build that has, of course it has versatile options as well, but on the other side Bryan is playing the greens approach, so something completely different, and yeah, utilizing totally different strategies. So yeah, it will be interesting to see how well this plays out for both of them.
Indeed. And as well, we have the Picarom green starting perfectly with a power plant. Excellent start against the non-green version. But however, we see Ricardo starting with the Mars Shadow with the resetting hole. However, it's in the active spot, so it can't use its effect yet.
For sure. So yeah, the power plant definitely one of the big cards in this matchup. It's just so powerful against Pika decks that heavily rely on Dedenne. And yeah, we already see part of its strength.
Beautiful. Yeah. Had to find the Malin Lana, however, so his supportive return is gone. However, he finally gets rid of the power plant, being able to Dedenne. And hopefully he draws maybe a Picarom and an energy, so he can already start to accelerate those energies on the board.
Yeah, this, however, also means that Ricardo only has the Thunder Mountain left as Stadium, and once that is removed from play, Bryan will have will be able to guarantee a power plant in play, making his reset stamps really powerful. So this Mars Shadow being gone so early is definitely, yeah, Bryan definitely likes to see that.
Indeed, I would like to see Ricardo right now playing as many Dedennes as he can, just for the fact that he already has one in the bench, so the Dark Bolt does not do much more. However, if he plays him now for late game, he has all the supporters left in the deck, which means that if he gets Reset Stamp, which he will, considering the deck that Bryan is playing, so yeah, I would like to see some provision already for the late game. But there we go, Electrify, 2 energies on the Picarom, and we'll probably see a full Blitz if the Thunder Mountain is in Bryan's deck this turn.
So a pretty good start for Ricardo as well, got exactly what he wants. I mean, not the optimal opening, of course, but getting a turn 1 full Blitz against the power plant is really hard, and this is totally fine for him. And yeah, Bryan now basically has to use his Thunder Mountain for this full blitz, and that's definitely pretty nice for Ricardo. That means that he can keep his own Thunder Mountain in the deck so that he can later on replace one of Bryan's power plants. So yeah, definitely nice for him.
And there we go, also grabbing one of the top calls. Excellent card, since it also allows you to get a supporter for next turn, and he probably will grab this Thunder Mountain considering he wants to accelerate, but actually decides to go for a Green Exploration. Very interesting. Yeah, I think he goes rather for a more slow approach, probably switch into a Boltund to set up some other Pokemons. I like this approach as well. Obviously attacking with full Blitz turn 2 is very massive, but 150 damage on the Boltund does not do much.
Yeah, and Bryan, of course, realizes that he doesn't want to play with Thunder Mountain. He doesn't want to give Ricardo easy access to that. And yeah, so he wants to bait that kick him out if possible. And yeah, of course, a full blitz is not too impactful at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
for how much 150 damage looks scary as well. A Boltund will just remain with 50 HP, and Picaroma can hit these really huge numbers, but has some problems in hitting the final numbers to knocking out the Pokemon. Oh, Maganza here discarding a switch, actually. Pretty important card as soon as the power plant will hit the board. To go also Tapu Koko, so excellent stuff overall for him. And as well a Dedenne to top it off. Fantastic.
Yep, definitely going strong.
And yeah, I really like as well Bryan approach to grab the green. So he's kind of timing it out his deck. He is he knows that he can't really rush against this version that is fast. Probably, I would say the non-green version is a bit faster
Yeah, for
in
sure.
terms of like look at that setup. Look
Yeah,
at us how many cards they have in hand.
exactly. We see a big difference between how those decks are working, where I would say it's kind of quantity versus quality, and even for the sounds kind of in favor of quality, it's definitely not that black and white, because as we see, um, Bryan can search out his deck and basically get anything he wants, but he only gets access to very few cards, and so he's sitting there with, yeah, not an amazing board and a very low hand. Meanwhile,
Indeed.
Ricardo has already gone through half of his deck, or even more.
Exactly.
So yeah, we see that Ricardo definitely has a big quantity advantage. And yeah, Bryan will have to, and yeah, we'll have to see if Bryan can make it work to win this game with just a few cards that he gets per turn. But for now, he doesn't have that much going on for him for sure.
Exactly. So right now, Ricardo as well, as you said, thinning out his deck. This means that later on the reset stamps will not hurt as bad as long as he has enough stuff in his deck. However, he already played 3 of his Electro Powers, which can become quite relevant considering you need to somehow one-shot the Picrom. So he probably will have to rely onto the right channel and right sheet to take the knockout here on the Picrom that will come up soon. But he gets the knockout as well on this Bolton, which is really massive.
Yeah, that's big for sure. Especially the Raichu alone, and Raichu doesn't need any electro powers to take a knockout on the
Exactly.
Pika. And yeah,
Well, he has the Bolton, so he does have a lot of things to catch up.
exactly.
However, Bryan hand is not looking great. And this is, I think, the problem about the green version, is that sometimes, while you can tutor for the resources you need in certain occasions, sometimes you need more than just 2 cards, right?
Yeah, he looks very overwhelmed right now. He needs another
Exactly.
Pokemon for sure, but he also needs to draw cards somehow. And if he just gets knocked out by that Raichu next turn, he's not getting anywhere. So
Indeed.
yeah.
Indeed. Pretty scary right now. He probably needs to set up another Pokemon in the bench. He can kind of just read around with the fact that the opponent has 4 prizes. However,
Going for the reset step right away. I expected
I
that to
do
be a
like
step
that.
for. I'm not sure I expected this to be a step for next turn because Bryan can. Because Ricardo can just get the knockout
Yeah,
anyways.
definitely.
But I guess going for the low party here definitely makes sense.
That's fine too, yeah.
Yeah.
Low Honey grants you a knockout. It would have been awesome if you could have knocked out the Pickup maybe with a low Honey. Right now, even putting more pressure, or even better, knock out the right chip, not right chip. But of course, as I just said, the green version sometimes falls short into getting the right resources at the right time. And yes, unfortunately, this might be the downfall of it. But the game is still open, definitely still open.
Yeah, for sure. Low Honey's right now just knocks out everything basically.
Oh, that's the Eldegoss. If there's a
Eldegoss.
boss orders, that's gonna be pretty sad. But
boss
no, I
order.
think just the Malon Lana.
Yeah.
There you go. That's fine too. Kinda sets Bryan back 1 turn. At the same time, I think Ricardo needs to keep up with the aggression right now. And he needs to decide whether he wants to go for the Bolton, which I think falls short for the knockout. I'm counting.
No, it should be enough.
No, actually,
it's
it's enough,
280, right? Yeah.
Yeah, 280, yeah.
So that's
Still
plenty.
need to get.
And yeah, the Bolton taking the knockout here, and the Raichu already sitting there, ready on the bench.
Indeed. Very interesting as well for Ricardo to not discard other cards, just decides to go for the Malon Lana for the switching effect. That's fair.
Yeah,
I think his biggest weakness right now is if the Raichu and Raichu gets captured up. We'll see.
Yeah, like Bryan would definitely like a gust effect this turn, but only the reset stamp, so
yeah,
not looking too great. Of course, he can take a knockout on the Bolton, stamp Ricardo down to a single card, and just hope that he doesn't draw a switch.
An energy.
Yeah, but
it needs an energy. He can retreat manually with the Pikarom, but he needs an energy.
Yeah, exactly. I meant an energy.
That's not an energy.
Yeah, and
then
even if he doesn't get the energy, the spot is still really good for him. For like, he can just hit the low punny, and what does Bryan do then? He only has one Pokemon with energies. It's gonna get damaged, and yeah.
And that's the awesome factor as well about Bolton. Bolton gives away only 2 prizes, and it can hit
And yeah, there's the
Amazing
energy.
numbers.
So,
That's the energy.
a knockout.
Yep. Lightning Guard GX. Remember to switch, otherwise doesn't count.
And yeah, I'd say a pretty one-sided game where quantity certainly beat quality. Bryan just, yeah, Ricardo just having a fast start and putting on aggression from the early game on. I mean, it wasn't even overwhelming aggression or something. He didn't get a ton on full blitz or something crazy like that. He just went for his usual game plan, applied some pressure, and it was just too much for Bryan to deal with. And yeah, he just couldn't get access to a sufficient amount of cards. Like if he,
Indeed, indeed.
yeah, if he could have maybe greened for 3 cards per turn, that would have been much, much stronger, and he probably could have gotten the game, but 2 cards just wasn't enough. And yeah, so Ricardo takes a pretty convincing victory here and moves on to an 11-3 record. So
Absolutely, absolutely. Excellent stuff, and it showed the difference between the two decks. We saw how scary Bryan looked in the first turn since he was able to tutor the cards at the beginning, but however, we saw how quickly everything tumbled down
for
as
sure.
soon as Ricardo kept up the pace.
Yeah, so definitely not the strongest selling, not the strongest point for the greens version here. Definitely looked definitely looked like it's easy to overwhelm. I'm not
Indeed,
sure.
indeed,
It's
absolutely.
it's also not like Bryan got a terrible hand. He got pretty much a lot going on for him. So yeah, his deck just seemed a bit too weak here. But of course, maybe if he goes second, gets the wait and see hammer, maybe gets more value out of his power plant, then things could have looked different. But he's not out of this tournament yet. He was sitting at a comfortable 10-3 record. So even with this loss, he's still in it for a top 8 spot.
Indeed, indeed. So good luck to all the players that are
Yep.
playing right now into day 2. And remember, this is the last chance you have to qualify for the Invitational.
Yeah, exactly.
So
We have quite a few players that already were pretty good in our ranking in day 2. So we will try to get some of those on stream if their records are decent. Um, yeah, so we'll try to show those if possible, just so that we can follow around the players that are fighting for the spot in the invitationals. Anyways,
indeed.
for now that's it from this round. So I hope you enjoyed this face-off of different Pika builds, and we will go to a quick break before coming back with round number 15.